So, we're addressing a little elephant in the room today. For a particular episode 9 of a particular season 3 of a British television show, there was a particular set of sculptures and they somewhat caught the attention of audiences at home. We're talking of course of the Easter Island sculptures, the Up the Hill challenge for Traitors UK, where, frankly, there was a bit of a distraction and a buzz online afterwards, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, then, well...
Oh my god, they look exactly like cocks.
Welcome to Sculpture Studios, where we fabricated, not designed, let me make that very clear, but fabricated the Easter Island head statues. Now, make no mistake, there was not a single point during the creation process of these where we saw anything other than what they were, a two-part body and head creation. We're very much focusing on the way in which everything goes together, allowing for enough room around the collars and the Roman joins for a plastic coating thickness, and Aden was out of the country for the initial discussions of this project, so I was literally manning the fort to get everything up and running, all approved, and ready for when Aden returns, so sue me for not subconsciously looking for large phallical resemblances. Hopefully you can see from this video though that, aside from the humorous likeness, which only really seemed evident on the day, that the work behind creating them was a very different story. We've had these 3D CNC cut for speed and accuracy, and so that all of the models are identical to one another for a fair challenge. A big thank you to Ed and his team for getting these cut for Aden's return, and for the initial polyurea spray coating. Fiberglass is a little overkill in terms of cost and time and process, but also the fact that these are going to be man-handled and could very well be dropped, so a polyurea spray coating is the most suitable option. This will give the forms a quick rubbery sort of membrane, suitable to survive the one day's use for the challenge. As well as these being identical to one another, being durable enough to drop and being able to match any head with any body, the biggest discussion point was the overall weight of each piece, as polystyrene and plastic alone wouldn't be the greatest of challenges. Here we have two of our clients, Ollie and Kat from Studio Lambert, visiting the studio to discuss the ideal ballast that needs to be added for each piece. The final decisions were for the heads and the bodies to be 10 and 30 kilos respectively, making the bodies favourable to a 2 or 3 person lift, and the heads possible to lift and carry solo. We're obviously used to lifting and moving things around in the studio, but at this stage there's no way to determine who is going to be lifting these on the day in terms of size, strength, ability, disability, endurance, or even the number of people or the distance they need to be carried, so decisions like this need to be made carefully. A hole is being bored down through the top collar section of the bodies and up through the Roman joins of the neck of the heads, so that an accurate amount of concrete can be added, weighed to scale, and then completely sealed up before artworking. Unsure as to how they're looking to artwork these at the other end, or if they're trying to match the artwork of other rock elements that have been made elsewhere, we're going over with a base layer of artwork with emulsion paints that can easily be amended later down the line. On top of the artwork, we're applying a water-based lacquer, once again something that can be artworked over, but just so that our painting is locked down to begin with. With everything nearing completion here in the studio, these are now ready for collection to head somewhere up north. The initial project called for a potential maximum of 18 statues. In the end, we're guessing depending on where in this series this was going to take place, the final call was for 13, which we could only assume was the number of people potentially taking part in the challenge, one statue per contestant. Perhaps a few of the additional ones are for the studio offices, or who knows, maybe Claudia's got one in the garden. A hilarious online interview that we found with Richard Osmond features him saying that even the production team didn't notice anything mistakable about the statues until they were being lifted and carried, by which it was too late and they just thought, oh my god. But hey, what a great bit of television, and I'm sure a memory that the contestants and the production team will treasure forever. We'd very much like to thank the teams at Studio Lambert, BusyBot, and of course the BBC for such a fantastic project to produce for a fantastic show, and we look forward to any future sculptural endeavours, innuendo or otherwise. One of the greatest things about the work we do is not only the variety of projects that come through our door, but the variety of what the projects are used for. Being able to see something go from a block of polystyrene to being finished here at the studio, and eventually up out in a theme park or part of a theatre production, or in this case on national television, is just the cherry on the top. In this case, a few extra cherries, with the statues receiving far more accolade than they probably intended, but that's showbiz. At least they're memorable, and it simply makes us look back on the project all the more fondly. We always love hearing what you guys at home think of our projects and our channel, so please feel free to drop a comment below, and by all means subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up to date on our latest videos. A big thank you to all of our patrons who forever remain faithful. We love having you guys on board, and if you'd like to support our family run studio, you can find our Patreon details below. However big or small, it's greatly appreciated from all of us here at Sculpture Studios. Thank you very much for watching.